All right, now we're doing 7Q. Are they square? This is by Tadowik, 1, my bad. And 91% of the people like it. We're going to write a function that checks whether all elements in an array are square numbers. The function should be able to take any number of the array. Pardon me, any number of array elements. Our function should return true if all statements in the array are square numbers and false if not. An empty array should return undefined, and we can assume that all array elements will be positive integers. Got it. So this one's going to be true because all these are perfect squares. This one's going to be false because this is a prime number, and this is undefined because of it being what? Whatever dot length, r dot length equals 0. All right. So first things first, let's take care of this edge case. Let's come down here, do this your code here. If r dot length equals 0, what am I doing? If r dot length equals 0, we're going to do not equals either. Come on now. Equals 0. We're going to say return undefined. All right. And then down here, we're going to do a for loop. We're going to say for let I equals 0. Well, I is less than r dot length I plus plus. All right. And then down in here, we're going to say if. And so we're going to say if r at I, at index I, and then we're going to do times, and then so r at index I to the power of 0.5, which is to the power of 1/2, to the 1/2 power. And you know that just makes the square root. Hopefully you remember that from math class. If that's the case, and then we use the remainder operator 1. Okay. So basically, if there is a remainder when we make the square root, what we're going to do is return false, because that means it's not a perfect square. And then down here, we're going to say return true, because if it's not false, it's got to be true, right? Test it out, or undefined, but whatever. All right, looks good. Attempt it. Looks fantastic, but you know what? It's a lot of typing, and we can make it a little shorter, a little cooler looking. We're going to come over here and say var const instead of var conat. Const instead of var is squared equals. We're going to take this function out of here, along with these parentheses and the rest of this stuff right here. Turn this into an arrow, and then come down here and say console.log, log, so that we can test while we go. And we'll start right here. And we'll say R to start off with, just to check it out. And it's going to have this right here, the array right there. And then right now we're going to say dot every. If you don't know about the every method, let's go up here. The every method tests whether all elements in the array pass the test implemented by the provided function, and it returns either true or false. So we're going to come down here and look at the syntax. We're going to use arrow function syntax, say every. We're going to have the element in here, and then we're going to have an arrow, and then we're going to have the expression right here. And the expression is going to be basically what we wrote in the other one. So we're going to say element, all right? And then for the expression, we're going to say element. But we're also going to use this math.square root, which this function returns the square root of a number. We're just going to use this just so we can shake it up a little bit. So we're going to come over here, put that in parentheses, and say math.square root. All right, so if this remainder operator 1, but this time we're going to say if it equals 0, we're going to put it into we're going to check each one of them, and if they're all good, true, and if even one of them is bad, false. So let's test it out. It's good on this one. This first one's true. Let's get rid of it. We can test it out for the false one. Good. Come down here, test it out for undefined. True, false. That's no good. That's not good. So basically, right here, we're going to do an if statement, but we're not going to do the if statement. We're going to use one of these ternary operators or conditional operator, whichever one you want to say. The ternary operator is the only JavaScript operator that takes 3 operands, a condition followed by a question mark, then an expression to execute if the condition is truthy followed by a colon, and finally the expression to execute if the condition is falsy. This operator is frequently used as an alternative to if-else statements, all right? So over here, we're going to say if r.length exists, we're going to do this thing that we just made, right? And if not, what we're going to say is undefined, all right? Now let's test it out. Undefined false looks good. Let's get rid of this, get rid of the console.log, test it out for real. Good, attempt it. Looks good, submit it. All right, you see right here, it's basically the same thing we did, except for we did concise syntax instead of whatever syntax this one is. This is an if statement with that going on. And I mean, you can look at all the rest of them and look them all up on MDM, Mozilla thing, but whatever. So here's the one we just did. Best practice in my opinion, just me on this one. Very much like it, and we'll see you next time.